You ever hear that old thing? If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's kind of true, and it's kind of not. If you like working on vehicles, okay, you might hate being a mechanic. That's why I'm not one. Because uh, while you might like working on vehicles, a lot of the time you might have to make compromises to work your job in that kind of deal. Um, Same with dang near any trade. I feel like what they meant to take that a step further was work in what you'd pay somebody else to do. Um, and with that, what I'm saying is what do you love doing? What do you pay people to do? What is your hobbies? Okay, enjoy maybe you enjoy going to a football game. Okay, maybe you enjoy going to a football game. How can you turn that into a career? How can you make money at that? You know, maybe that's doing concessions with like a bit view of the field and all that. Maybe it's being on the sidelines somehow, doing something on the sidelines, being in the thing that way. Maybe it's broadcasting the game, one way or the other. Maybe it's broadcasting the game. Maybe it's actually being on the field. You know, um, kind of deal. Maybe you like guns. Okay, maybe you like guns. How do you make that into a career? Well, you can sell them, you can build them, you can promote them, you can write about them. You know, if that's your passion, if that's your specialty, you got knowledge on it. Use that knowledge. Tell people about that knowledge. Do a blog, do a video, do a YouTube channel, do something related to your passion, and find a way to make money on it. And it's something that you're going to enjoy doing, kind of deal. And as a benefit, you're also going to open up more doors to do more things. You might gain, if you're reporting on it, maybe you'll gain special access to something new, kind of deal. Um, Hush hush, still open to the public, but new kind of deal. If you want to get into technology, that's vague. If you want to get into technology or something like that, there's everything and everywhere around you to learn and get into that. I'm actually not passionate about a whole bunch of things. I'm just not. I'm weird like that. I don't care that much about stats and all this and that. I just do stuff to play around. I like building things, so I build things. And to that effect, how can I build things without going broke? Well, what I would have been doing for years is you buy a car, you part the car out, and then you get some free parts. They're not exactly free, but if you here, I'll give you an example. I bought a 1978 F-150. Okay, I think I paid $800 or a grand. Anyway, yeah, let's say $800. I'm pretty sure I only paid $8. Anyway, four-wheel drive F-150 from 1978. I'm from Michigan, so that was rotted. So the body was pretty shot. I think it had a flatbed on it, come to think of it. Yeah, I think it had a flatbed or something. Tore the body off, tore it apart. Sold the engine because I wasn't playing around with it. Little inline six with a 4 speed, and a transfer case, and rear axle and front axle. Well, I sold the engine. I sold the rims. I sold the front axle. I still had the transfer case and I still had the transmission from that. I'll potentially sell those later. But I got the rear axle. That's what I wanted out of it. And I got that rear axle for free. Because by the time I sold all that stuff, I'm only into the axle for probably like $200. And when I sell the transmission for probably 80, somebody will jump on that all day long. It's a 4-speed. And then the transfer case for probably, I don't know, another 80. I won't have much into it. And it's something that I like doing. That gives me an axle for a project kind of deal. And then you do that more and more, and you're able to, trade this for that kind of deal and play around and build things that way on the cheap. And it's something that people have been doing for years. It's not a new thing. You buy a vehicle, you tear it apart, you get some extra parts out of the deal. And then you can build something from those extra parts that would otherwise be going to scrap or otherwise be going to, just trash. It'd be filling up a landfill somewhere. Instead, you find a way to repurpose it. That's something I'm passionate about. Building little things, building weird things. I like doing it. I got this business going on right now. I don't have time to do those things, but I'm getting there. I'm going to dedicate some time to it. But it's one of those deals where you play around and you find what you're passionate about, what you enjoy doing. The worst part about doing projects is it can kill you real fast. You can get running, and you run out of budget. What do you do then? Well, you look around and say, I got that vehicle sitting over there. What can I do with it? I'm not going to do it. It's only like $300 in scrap on a good day. What am I going to do with it? Well, you're going to tear it apart. You're going to make probably $1,200 on that vehicle that you were going to scrap for $200. And then you turn around, you either trade or you sell the parts so that you can play around with that project again, kind of deal. Running a business, you have business vehicles. My business vehicles are square bodies because I like square bodies. If I'm going to have a business vehicle, it's going to be a vehicle that I enjoy working on and enjoy doing. And because it's a business, a percentage of that maintenance is a business expense. Okay? That's not an excuse. That's legitimate. They're legitimate business vehicles, and it's a legitimate business expense. I enjoy driving them. There you go. Kind of deal. It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy driving the vehicles. I enjoy the old square bodies. Instead of paying everything out of pocket, I can get a percentage of that towards the business. And like I'm saying, there's some examples. There's so many things that you can do. Okay? So many things you can do that if you're passionate about it, all right, if you're passionate about the thing, if you're the go-to person for social media, or not social media, if you're like the go-to person for all things rap god, if you're a rap god, okay? If you know everything about rap all the way, like the last from like 2000 to 2010, if that was your little period, you know every little thing about that. You know every artist, you know the songs, you know the names, you know you could say the stuff half awake, half blasted. You could know this stuff down pat. Why aren't you doing something with that? Why aren't you sharing that? Why aren't you making money on that? You know, kind of deal. And anything that you're passionate about, anything that you enjoy doing, anything that you pay somebody to do or pay money to do, you can make a career out of it. People say you ain't got no jobs. I get it. What's stopping you from starting your own? You can do that right now. Today. You got that phone in front of you right now. Get on an AI service, pick your poison, and ask it, how do I start this? I enjoy doing this. How do I turn this into a business? And it'll kick something out. Then you ask it probably 300 other questions. Keep just going. Keep going. And give it problems. Give it walls that you got and say, well, how do I get around this? Or there you go, you got the vehicle. I like tearing apart vehicles, but you might live in an apartment complex. Okay, well, that's an issue because now you can't tear apart the vehicle in the apartment complex. You might get kicked out, kind of deal. Because everybody's got rules and such. Maybe you live in an HOA, same kind of deal. You might not be able to have the vehicle outside. What do? Well, maybe you rent out a storage building. Maybe that's allowed. Maybe it's not. Maybe you got a friend who's got a farm or know somebody that has a farm kind of deal and you can play around the vehicles there. Maybe you slide them a little bit of cash so that you can rent a spot in their barn every month. You can rent a spot in their barn kind of deal. And they're okay with you coming over kind of deal and all that, whatever. It's you. You got to figure this stuff out. Maybe you don't do it right out the bat. Maybe you don't do it right out the bat. Maybe you plan all this stuff and you get the wheels in motion and it's a multi-step plan towards your goal. But it's a goal. There is an end. And there's also a time frame to do this. And it's one of those things where so many people I get stuff's hard. I get it. But so many people these days just want an excuse. They just want you to agree with them, okay? That their situation is harder than anybody else's has ever had it kind of deal. In which, man, people had polio and stuff like that. People compare, this is like the 1920s. Boys. Ain't nothing like that, man. You had wars, you had diseases, you had all kinds of stuff. Limitations out the rear. Bad people watching over everybody, bad people influencing everybody, I'm not just talking about political crap. But you had a lot going that we progressed from. The amount of freedoms that we have today, believe it or not, I know somebody's going to jump on that. The amount of freedoms that we have today are nuts. You hear about, the 20-year-old millionaires or whatever. Why not you? I don't care if you're 50 years old. Why not you? What's your passion? What do you enjoy doing? What would you pay somebody to do? Turn that into money. And I can't tell you what your passion is. I'm not going to tell you the way to success. I'm not going to tell you to jump on a social platform or eBay or whatnot or whatever. I'm not going to tell you to open up a brick and mortar. I'm not going to tell you to be a restaurant chef. That's you. It's whatever you want to do. Maybe you've always wanted to be a pilot. Be a pilot. How do you get there? Well, you ask questions. Then you jump there, and then you jump there, and you jump there. You make the steps. You ask the questions, and you're honest. Be honest about where you're at, what your thing is. If you have problems with things, if you have trouble with some things, admit that when you're asking these questions. A lot of people don't say that. Then they wonder why the results not what they want. You didn't give it all the information. You didn't give that, or that person, you didn't give that information. You went into the interview, hiding some stuff. All right? And then they expected you to know this thing, and you actually didn't know it. You just wanted to get in the door. When you're doing your own little thing, research. If you want to do your own, you want to be your own boss and all that, research it. Find out how hard it is. Okay? Anything's hard. Okay, I get it. Anything's hard. All right? But if you're passionate about it, it's a lot easier. if you want to, if you know everything about a topic and can talk about that topic for days, and you could talk people's all day long about this topic or that topic or whatever your niche is, whatever your personal goal and thing that you know all about and love talking about, you could do a podcast or a show or this or that or the other thing on that. And maybe you got to learn a couple new skills along the way. Let's go with this. Maybe you got to learn a lot of skills along the way. But it's starting and going there and doing it. It's not just talking about it. If you like talking about the stuff with your friends and your buddies and all this, why aren't you making money? Why aren't you telling other people about what you know? Tell them about your skills. Tell them about what you know and be humble about it too. I don't know a lot about business. I'm learning all this as I go, man. I'm watching everybody here and there, and I listen to this and that, and I try to keep up on the social, this and that. But I'm learning as much as anybody else. I'm learning as I go. That's what this little, if you go all the way back, all this stuff, not these daily thought things, but my business stuff, it goes all the way back. It's showing you my mistakes. It goes all the way back to the start. And I did that on purpose. That's for me, but it's also for anybody that wants to watch them. But it's basically for me. All right? Because at the end of the day, you support you kind of deal. But you always hear about people, man, I wish I would have recorded that. I've had so many vehicles over the years. I don't have a lot of pictures of them. I bet you only got like 20 cars pictures up, and they're usually like 1 or 2 pictures. Because I didn't record this stuff. Bit of an issue there with me, social issue and all that, but I just didn't record the stuff. I didn't record it, a lot. So I got really splotchy things that I built and things I've done over the years. Part of that too is, who am I trying to impress kind of deal. I'm not really trying, I wasn't ever trying to impress anybody. I was just doing this stuff. And if I had a vehicle and I drove it for a couple months and then I blew something up or went into the woods with it, oh well, toss it out, grab another one, play around with that some more. And like I'm saying, I liked flipping and building things. So, but I didn't care to record all this stuff, and all that. I just didn't. But that's what I'm saying. Having a record of something, one way or the other, it's going to keep you going, keep you motivated. And if you can make money on something like that, there you go. This right here, this is therapy versus potentially helping somebody. That's all I want to do with this. It's never going to be anything major. That's me never editing these things. It's pretty much telling you, you're getting it wrong. You're getting one take out the gate and unedited. There you go. Kind of deal. Because I ain't going to give you no magic thumbnail. Half my stuff right now is like a weird phrase or weird, you're probably going to see it here. Kind of deal. And there'll probably pause on that. But yeah, it's not about the money, folks. And if it's not about the money, then what it's about? It's about trying to help some people. If you know something and you can help people with that thing, and you can make a little bit of change on the side, for something that you dang near do for free, that's a win-win-win. You sharing your stuff, which you talk about for free. You're helping people learn about that stuff. And then you're also making a little bit of change on the side. It doesn't mean it's got to be your full-time gig. Actually, I would probably start out as it not being your full-time gig, as it being just something that you do for free. And then maybe you do eventually turn it into something, but starting out, doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be a whole thing where you do so many things each day kind of deal. Just be relaxed about it. Say these little things. This is just what's on my thoughts. This is just what's on my mind when I'm saying these things. It's daily thoughts. That's what this is. I ain't got no magic topic. Most of the time I think about these things for about 5 minutes before saying them. You know, I think about it for like 5 minutes and okay, boom. And that's what it is. Weekend dailies, I usually give you something a little bit longer. But yeah, just figure out what you like doing. Figure out how to make money at that and do it. And if you help people along the way, that's even better. Or make excuses. Because a lot of people like making excuses. But I'm telling you right now, if you make the excuse and you say, I don't have this, the next part of that is, here's my problem. Here's why I can't do this. The next part of that is asking the question, but I like to find a way to get around this issue. How can I get around this issue? If you ask that, there's usually an answer. Okay? How do you want people? I don't know the technical term here, so don't kill me on the term. Because I don't look at people like this, but somebody that lost a leg running a marathon is somebody that has that mentality. Whatever, for whatever reason, whatever accident, whatever, or whatever happens, maybe they were born this way, they don't have a leg. Okay. But they've always wanted to run. Okay. There's your excuse. You don't have the leg. I'll never be able to run. But how can I possibly get around this? How can I get around this wall? Then you see them. You see these people that are running marathons with a item on their leg to allow them to run. And they're doing it. That's a level of determination I'll never have. It's an amazing level of determination to see that. And they can teach people along the way about that determination, and they can potentially make it into some type of career. Being a runner, get sponsored as a runner, become maybe an Olympic athlete in that. Turn what people see as an issue into a positive. And there's nobody these days that can't do that. Like I'm saying, this isn't 1920s. This is 2020s. Okay? We have so much better access to everything. So many limitations. We also have so many excuses, so many other people to look up to, so many people to compare yourself to. It's just an excuse. Figure out what you like doing, that you're passionate about. Find out how to make money into it. Maybe if you look at anybody that's invented anything, going back to the 20s, okay? They didn't just do it. They didn't straight up quit their job and just go out and on a fingers crossed, let's do this thing, you know? They were usually working for somebody else while working another thing on the side, while maybe supporting this people or other people and doing this. But they were still doing the thing on the side. They didn't just jump into it feet first. They planned on it, and there you go. Now you do have a couple families or couple famous people that did that. You know, they had the backing out the gate to do that, but a lot of them, no. They did all that bootstrap. They didn't get no backers. They didn't get no backers. They did all the prototyping. They had the prototype built before they went to say, hey, look at this. You know, this is better than anything out there. Do you want to put money into it? But they had to get to that point. Before they got the item, no item here. Before they got the item, they had to go through and probably build a couple hundred prototypes. Failures, determination, figuring out how to build all the parts. Figuring out the hard stuff. And they didn't have the internet, so it was pretty much what your local thing was, who they had to talk with. Yet some of these people, they would travel cross country to talk with different people, to hear about a topic in the newspaper or whatever, and be like, I'm going to talk with that person. Then they'd spend days going there. Okay? No guarantee they're even going to see the person. No guarantee the person's going to give them the time of day. Today, you can get all that information and more, tons more, volumes more, and you can also compare it and fact check on all these things, and you're good. You know it. In a matter of minutes, you can know stuff that would have taken days, weeks, probably months to figure all this stuff out. And you can do it. You can take whatever you're passionate about, you can do it and move it to the next level. That's why you see, like I'm saying, you see these 20 and 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds making all this money. Because they take that passion. And they haven't got the mindset of, I've been beat down 3 or 4 different ways because I failed at this and this and this. They haven't failed yet. So they come out the gate hard. And they hit it and then they succeed. And they stay with whatever they're passionate about. And they find a way to make money at it. But yes, we're getting a little long here. And there you go. It's whatever you're passionate about. Whatever you're passionate about. Enjoy it. Do it. Make money at it. Maybe you teach some people along the way. Maybe you help some people along the way too. Maybe that's your goal, is to help people. You don't have to be a millionaire to be a success. If you like helping people, there's plenty of people in need. There's plenty of ways to help those people without money. Without even money. There's a whole bunch of ways to help those people. Thanksgiving's coming up. I guarantee you there's a food kitchen. Christmas is coming up. I guarantee you know people in need. And it might not be money related. It might be somebody's 70 years old and they need help doing their porch. They need help clearing their porch for some snow. Maybe they need a ride somewhere, kind of deal. That's a way, if you're passionate about it, that's a way to help people. You know, maybe you find out about stuff. Maybe you do this and do that. Maybe you start an organization that you do make a little bit of money at. What's your goal? What's your baseline? Helping people. How are you doing it? You have this organization. It does this. You take charitable donations and you're able to do it that way. You're not getting rich at it, but you're doing what you're passionate, you like doing. It's your passion. And like I'm saying, just an example. Doesn't have to be that. It can be anything you're passionate about. But there you go. This is getting long. I'll let you guys go. And little daily thoughts of the day. Find your passion. Stick with it. Go with it. See you folks.